Remember back when NDOT was holding us on that long about moving that traffic light on the seats. We're going to go ahead and do that and do a cross traffic check. And we requested a railway that we had they're going to put that in. Traffic. No, it's just, I wanted you guys to know. Okay. Not do anything about it. Thanks, Dave.
If that's wrong with you, I don't know if that's wrong with you.
No, I thought it was a deal.
Yeah, he said something back before that, after the last meeting was here. Well, what it was, somehow, I think Tyler had a vacation one week, and Lindsay's breaking the other week. One of the grandkids, both of them.
He's actually 18.
Been there,
Watched it, and I love how Dave Leach awkwardly turned to look at the translator after. And I was trying to see which one would go the longest. That guy was good. Yeah, well, there was one of them that went on forever, and then finally he leaned forward, the translator leaned forward and rattled it all. Yeah, I'd seen that.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for the opportunity that we can serve our community. I pray that you help us make good business decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
City Council meeting Monday, October 21st, 2019. Comes to order. Roll call, please.
Mary Gregson, Jeff Hancock.
Here.
Jerry Walton.
Here.
Aaron Dickens.
Here.
Mike Cover.
Here.
Lynn Reed. Rex Beckman.
Here.
Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from the former meeting?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walton.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mike Cover.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Mr. President, I turn this meeting over to you.
Thanks, Mayor. First on the agenda, we have a public hearing for 3819 approving additional appropriation funds. Dave, you want to open that meeting?
Yes, we have, as Mr. Koger said, we have a public hearing set for a advertised appropriation of additional funds. Anybody wishing to come forward and speak to that ordinance, now is your time to come forward and present the council with any statement or evidence you wish to present. Please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and make your presentation. President, I see no one coming forward, so I would call the meeting, the public hearing closed, and can proceed with the agenda.
Thanks, Dave. Moving on to, let's go on to second reading for 3819, the approving additional appropriation of funds. I move that we accept that. Second.
Made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Jack Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Rolls.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Covert.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
At this time, I'll turn the floor over to Councilman Peckinpah, and he's got something to read on the interlocal governmental agreement.
Okay, this came to you late. It was there on your desk tonight. It's an interlocal agreement concerning the Stellar process. You can take a quick look through it. Nothing there that's really surprising. There's absolutely nothing, and I think Mr. Copenhagen will agree, there's nothing in there that binds us, for example, financially to anything other than Newcastle stuff. I mean, if Middletown happens to need more money for some reason, we are not, we can decide to do whatever we want to do, but we are not bound by this agreement to do anything. I know that's one concern people have had. It has a spot in there where it talks about resolving conflicts. Certainly we have 3 entities, and there could be conflicts arise, and there is a board there, and there is a process to take care of that. I think it's pretty standard. As a matter of fact, this came more or less from what Greenfield had in their winning Stellar proposal from last year. Pretty standard, and more or less something the state wants us to have in place. It's just one of their hoops. So,
It's going to be approved by the city council and by the county council.
yeah, once we vote on it tonight, then I don't know if Knightstown's voting on it tonight or tomorrow night.
I think they're voting on it tonight, Rex.
Right, and then the county council will have a meeting. Kennan is back there. If you have any questions, Mr. Gray or myself will try to answer them. When are you guys voting, Kennan?
We're voting this Thursday, commissioners are voting this Wednesday, Knightstown is voting tonight, hopefully you're voting tonight, and somewhere along the line, Tyson needs to vote because they have a project in it, and as you alluded to, Middletown. It's just a requirement that Elfrid Stellar has as a prerequisite that has to be turned in by November the 1st, to continue to be in contention as the final 4 Stellar finalists this year. So determine who the winner's going to be on December the 5th is when they're going to announce that.
Yeah, it's more or less us affirming once again, because all those government entities have done resolutions and different things, but affirming once again that we're going to hold up our end of the bargain if they hold up their end of the bargain. So, but I will move that we accept this resolution and ratify it.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Jack Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Rolls.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Covert.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next on the agenda is second reading of 3811, the 2020 budget.
I mean, I know that this has been a little dicey compared to my other 3 years that we've had the budget. I know that communication hasn't been the greatest, and I think that all sides involved probably have room for improvement in that. Through the discussions I've had with Brenda, I think that we've exposed some areas of improvement for the 2021 budget, and I feel pretty good about that as far as timeliness of negotiations with union employees, getting the budget ordinances on our desk early. But I think the issues that we've hit along the way, if things go as we've discussed for 2021, and that would be, department heads weighing in early. Council, obviously, we're talking to our constituents and know the needs that should be weighed when it comes to the budget. I think all of that will help create a budget that I think we have had in mind this time. I mean, civics lesson, the budget's obviously the mayor's, and I know that he's taking input from people, but it's hard to get input from 18,000 people, and that's, our job. So I think moving forward from after this budget, I feel pretty good about it. And so I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 3811.
I agree with Aaron also. I'll make a second motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I think it's important, since each of us serve on this committee, that all the board members ought to be here to vote on the budget. That's a little disappointing from my point of view.
Right, but at a
I
certain
know
point,
that
you
always
gotta,
can't happen,
Right.
and it needs to move along, but
Right.
I still want to voice that disappointment.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Jack Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Hover.
Aye.
Rex Beckles.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next is,
I'd like,
yeah, go ahead,
I'd like to
Chad.
make a motion to suspend the rules for 38-11, third,
38.
or, yeah, I'm sorry, right, 38.
So, I'm sorry,
38-11.
38-11.
You're
yeah.
right.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Sorry, Chad.
Roll call vote, please.
Jack Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Hover.
Aye.
Rex Beckles.
Aye.
I'd like
Motion carries
to
5-0.
make a motion, third and final reading, 38-11.
second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Hover.
Aye.
Rex Beckles.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Second reading, 38-12-2020, Department of Finance salary. Would we accept that?
Second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments?
Can we lump all of these ordinances
Um,
together?
Yeah, let
Yeah,
me,
we've done that
let me
in the past.
retract that. Let me retract that.
I'll retract the second motion.
Huh?
I'll retract the second.
Okay, second reading of 38-12, 38-13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. I would like to make a motion for all those at one time.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Hover.
Aye.
Rex Beckles.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
I'd like to make a motion, to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Jeff Hancock. Jerry Walden. Jeff
Aye.
Hancock.
Aye.
Can we just lump all those
Yeah.
together?
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Hover.
Aye.
Rex Beckles.
Aye.
I'd like to make a
Motion
motion,
carries 5-0.
third final reading.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Hover.
Aye.
Rex Beckles.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
I'm glad we didn't do first, that wasn't first reading, we had to go through that another time. I got overly confused.
That concludes all second readings. I have a first reading of ordinance 3820, an ordinance amending ordinance 3765. Whereas ordinance 3765 adopted by the Common Council on April 17, 2017, provided interest on all sewage bills not paid within 2 business days of the due date, whereas set forth in Title V, Chapter 50 of Newcastle City Code, whereas it has been determined that this interest should amount,
Should amount.
David,
Typo. This amount should be uniform.
this amount should be
Consistent.
uniform and consistent, now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Newcastle, Title V, Chapter 50 of that section, any bills, collection and deferred payment charges, all bills for sewage service not paid within 2 business days of the due date, therefore shall be subject to collection or deferred payment charge of 10%. The due date is 15 days after the billing date
further delinquent customers shall be liable for the cost of collection, including but not limited to reasonable attorney fees and court costs, is further ordained that all provisions of Title V not changed by this ordinance shall remain full force and effect. Is Mark here? Christie's gonna liaison here?
Whenever we did the sewer ordinance, 3765.
Yeah.
Baker Tilly in error picked up the water, late fees and finance charges, based on RURC. Sewage is not an RURC, and state law or state rule is 10% on sewer, which is what we were before the ordinance was, written there.
As far as the,
So we are fixing it.
Right.
This amendment would fix it and correct it.
as far as the timeline and the due date, so let's say your billing date's probably first of the month, just for this conversation.
15-point bill, those are the.
First, okay, so if it's the first, are the bills going out so that they're arriving by the first?
They should get them 10 days before the due date.
Okay, so due date's the first, and so then this says the due date is 15 days after the billing date.
So we wait five working days after the due date,
So then,
and then late fees are applied.
right, so I mean, I'm trying to think, a normal grace period's 30 days, right? In general, just in general, from what I work in,
On a normal
the
day.
right. So for this, I mean, are we talking a grace period of like 15 days?
They get there's 10 days, it's 5 days after the due date
Okay,
is when late fees are applied.
right,
And I think our ordinance states 2 to 3 days.
When I prepared this, the only thing I changed from the current ordinance was
Right.
the interest.
was the percentage.
What's the
I didn't
percentage?
touch,
Okay,
so that hasn't been
That
changed.
hasn't-
If
okay.
we were not to pass this, those things would stay the
Right,
same.
right.
As I understood it, one reason for both of these ordinances is so that there's a uniform
yeah,
interest on deferred charges for billing purposes.
Yeah.
On that water bill, right now, there's several different,
right,
and it makes it very difficult for the billing office to do that. That's
And
what
our software doesn't pick it up to be separate. It'll allow 2 different formulas, IURC or state. And what we found in looking at this, or what Mark found in looking at this, which is the second ordinance, is that we have no ordinance for the late fees and penalties on the other 3 utilities that we bill out of the utility office. And there should have been.
okay. Well, I mean,
So the dates weren't affected, it was
Dates weren't affected at all.
Dates are not affected.
That
Those
makes
are
it
the
a lot-
same, those would be
lot
the
more
same no
sense.
matter what. This just creates a uniform interest on late fees.
Okay.
And for everyone to know, I stopped by the office this morning. If someone comes before the fact and says, you know, we're in a bind here, what can we do? They'll work with them.
Right,
But if they come after the fact, it's, you know, so.
I'll make a motion, we accept 3820.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Jack Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Jacobs.
Aye.
Mark Hoder.
Aye.
Brett Steffenhoff.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next is first reading 3821, which is establishing a deferred payment collection charge for unpaid city service debt. Whereas the city, those who fail to make a payment as ordained by the city should face a penalty and the subject to collections for deferred payment charges, and whereas the appropriate and fair rate for such charges is 10%. Again, this is the same as what we read in 3820.
I would assume the same thing, Mr. Copenhaver, is that the 10% is the only language that's changed.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move we accept 3821.
Second.
And this does not affect the water bill. That would have to go to the IURC.
This is just sewer.
No, this, sewage was the first one, this is all the other things on your
Oh, okay,
utility.
I got you.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0.
Concludes ordinances and resolutions. I'll turn the floor to Jeff for committee reports.
A couple of things here. I meet with the traffic committee right after the meeting for a couple of minutes, and Greg, thank you for taking care of the water leak on Cutter Lane. But, as one of the residents just got a hold of me, and I'm glad you checked it out, got it took care of. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
Just a few things here. I want to give condolences to the Keith family. They kind of had an anchor there on Roosevelt. As long as I can remember, they've gone through some tough times, and this family's given a lot to this community. I remember Mr. Keith coming down to Little League Diamonds when I was on the board there for a number of years, and he'd always slip an envelope in my pocket and said, "Don't let any kid not join because they don't have the funds, and if you need any more, come and see me." So I just wanted to mention them, and please keep them in your prayers, because they are a great family. Plaza Clock, Mr. Mayor, is awesome. It's nice to see people stopping and getting their pictures taken by it. And if it ever comes up missing, you might want to check with Kathy. I want to congratulate the girls volleyball team on their sectional championship, the boys soccer team on their sectional championships. I'd like to remind everyone that early voting started today. I was numero uno there this morning. It's top secret.
Wish that libertarian ticket.
If you haven't noticed yet, the DEP tear downs have started. The one on Woodward Avenue is down. I know they've got the one on 20th Street ready to go. Those are the ones that I've noticed, so those have started, and it has to be finished by the end of the month. Correct, Dave? Yep. Yeah. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Just a couple items that you wanted to bring up. We got the COA approved for the Murphy Building windows project from the Historic Preservation Commission. The estimate that we had is just under $27,000. We had earmarked $15,000 from Riverboat, which with the $10,000 grant from the Ephraimson Fund is $25,000. I'd like to make a motion that we earmark another $5,000. That would bring that to $30,000. I know when we first initially discussed this, we thought that that was a possibility.
Second.
Motion and second. Were you finished, Aaron?
Yep, for that one, yeah.
Motion and second. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Goldberg.
Aye.
Rick Sackett.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Is this coming out of Riverboat money?
Correct.
Yes.
The other thing that I would just, kind of like for you guys to think about and see where this fits on your level of importance and priorities, is that I think I'm going to try to start getting some estimates together for some new audio equipment for the council, or for the chambers. I know it doesn't really affect it here as far as, sound in the room, but, we've started streaming the meetings, which is a great service to our constituents, but the audio is terrible. it was just telling Kendra it could be the microphones, it could be the cables, it could be the, well, it's probably better now. It could be the board itself. So I just thought I will donate my own time here, looking into this and just try some things out with equipment that I have. But before we do anything permanent, I'll bring it before the council. But just start thinking about that. I mean, we've made some great steps over the last few years as far as doing this, and I think we want to just continue to improve on it. It's better than what we had, that's for sure. So that's all I have.
Nothing tonight.
Got a couple simple things. First, I want to thank Brenda and Mike and anybody who sorted caps or donated caps or weighed caps, dedicated a bench up there on the plaza to my parents this week, and I really appreciate their efforts to make that possible. Also appreciate Mr. Radford's story in the Courier. There was also a picture on my Facebook page of Darrell and I, and my comment to Darrell was that Mike Burgum may have to get another job because he did such a good job taking a picture of us with the limited material he had to work with. And it was a pretty good picture. The other thing I want to mention is give kind of a shout out to Doug. Called him, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, probably maybe 3 weeks ago, about a situation concerning buses. It wasn't a situation, it was our bus line's fault. It had to do with an apartment complex, senior living complex, and I think he's working to get that resolved, may even have it resolved at the time. I mean, he got right on it, and I really appreciated that, and that's kind of how he always does. Thanks, Doug. And that's it.
Chief? I don't think.
Real quick, just a special thanks to the Hankenhoff family. This past weekend, the family and friends met, and we dedicated the new shelter in Baker Park in honor of their family name. Thanks to Mayor York and Patty Royals for their involvement in the ceremony. Beautiful day, great ceremony, and amazing shelter. So
Dave Barker's the one that organized all the construction on it, so I
gave
I don't want to take
engineered and
credit to it.
fast tracked the project. So yeah.
Thank you. Dan? Thank you.
Yeah, just an FYI, from NDOT, you guys have those two documents on the desk.
Did we get any input on this, or?
Do you get any input?
Yeah.
I brought it up a while back.
Well, I didn't know that was final say.
We didn't either.
Yeah, well, that's what I wondered. If
Well,
NDOT
part of it's
didn't
good,
just
but
say.
part of it's what we were asking.
Right, right.
We are getting a four-way stop in Indiana and 18th, 103, it's hard to see pull out there. But they are taking out the traffic light at Grand Avenue and 103, right there by the Little Caesars. That'll be a two-way stop, cross traffic doesn't stop. So we just received those in the email this morning.
Or whatever we.
Grand Avenue's the stop.
What's that?
Grand Avenue's the
Grand
stop.
Avenue stops, yeah.
Well, whatever we did in this process, we could do any NDOT issue this way, because they were right on it with this. So if they could work this fast on some of the other projects, that'd be
Does that
great.
mean we're gonna get sidewalks in?
Let's bring it up.
Ask them to put the four-way stop at Indiana.
Right.
When they were doing construction, it was just not heard of, they didn't.
Yeah.
Then Dave asked them a second time, and
I mean-
I don't know if they felt guilty about it.
So,
I wanted to trade, if they were gonna take our lights out, I wanted to get four-way stop.
right.
I actually also requested a flashing light there by Sunnyside.
Perfect.
Don't know for sure, haven't heard any more, but they were gonna look in and see if they could get something there for when school is in session.
Or something like, Tri-Haz, draws attention. So my question with the 103 in Indiana, are we gonna have to do anything with the railroad because of the proximity there, if traffic gets backed up?
Move.
It's just no different than Broad, I mean,
Yeah.
True.
Okay.
when people get to 15th Street,
Right,
they'll go
yeah.
through the line.
Yeah. Well, I just figured you're stopped at that, it's a little different because you're stopped at the stop sign, and if it's backed up enough, somebody could be stopped on the track. Now, granted, it wouldn't be that quick, it's not a stoplight, maybe that's the the thing. The only other thing, I would imagine that with that being a four-way stop, I mean, I know we were looking at that reflective sphere mirror.
We've still got those, we've still got a couple of them.
Okay.
And we've tried one at Walnut.
Yeah.
For churches. And, I'm not crazy about it, but it wasn't a good way to get a good angle.
Well, with that stop sign, hopefully they'll be slowing down. as they're
Right.
Approaching Indiana now.
Okay. Those are just a couple concerns that came to mind.
That's all I have.
Well, while we're talking about NDOT, on Road 3 right now, we thought this, we didn't know this was gonna happen. They have told us which, I don't know if we want bank on the year or not, but they take 2021, they're supposed to do completely away with the two concrete, the two going north, two going south with concrete, and it'd just be the two asphalt, one going one way, one going the other way, like they did going to Muncie, until that project is complete from 338 to Walmart. So what they're doing now is just patch and repair. This has absolutely nothing to do, they're kind of doing this, I guess, to favor, they didn't call us and tell us they were coming. We had absolutely no idea.
Well, they said they were gonna pass and repair, they didn't say to what extent.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's when we all laughed at them. Said,
Well,
"Well, we're
they-
beyond
Yeah,
that."
then we'll be doing it
When
right.
they might be done. Do they have any ideas? We didn't have time frame on the start.
By
time.
the time they start ready, get ready to fix it in 2024.
I still see some areas that are 14 foot long and it looks okay, but then you drive 20 more feet and you see another one that's 6 foot long. So I don't have any idea if they're going to dig those up and patch those.
We were noticing that some of the cones have been hit.
Some, hit and move.
So I'm not trying to rag on them because I think that they're trying to do us a favor to get patched and repaired before 21. But I know that it's a mess, I know it's inconvenience, but surely they want to get that before the weather gets bad, top form concrete. But I don't know a day.
Yeah.
We've got
Good.
a meeting with them, is it next week or the following week? Next week, so maybe we get some of that information.
We'll try to find out more information. Anything, Counselor? Brenda? Kendra? Doug? No. Christie? Greg? Lee?
The only thing I've got is, it is getting that time of year where leaves are falling. We've got all three leaf bags ready to go. One has been out 5 or 6 times already. Something different, I want to make sure, because I know people ask some guys. On Fridays, they can pick up, we will pick up 10 bags of leaves. But they have to call our office and let us know that they have those. I don't want them setting them out on their trash day. That's why we designated Friday, and only Friday, pick up bag leaves.
Is that gonna be on the website?
Kendra said yes.
Thank you.
But
I should have looked that way.
But we're sucking them up and picking bags up both.
Right.
If they have a habitual amount of bags, they need to call in for Friday.
Right, for that, yes.
So we're picking up both, doing both.
Chief Boatright, do you wanna go over burning in town just real quick so that everyone knows, because that seems to come up this time too.
At this point right now, you can burn leaves and sometimes sticks if they're small enough in a barrel with a mesh top on it. And it's from now till November, I think, the 6th or 7th.
No open burning though,
No
correct?
open burning.
Anything else? Lindy?
No, I've got that.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak to the council this evening? Come forward.
I thought I might tell you guys what I've been doing with that money you gave me, Kathleen. What might be sure. I haven't gone on vacation or nothing. I mean, I've been on vacation.
Not wearing anything.
You just got back from Disney World, what do you
I
mean?
did, but I use my own money.
So I've been spending, I'm really good, you ask anybody, I'm good at spending.
Yeah, sorry.
Especially my board members, so I'll tell you. I like to spend money. So, I wanted to be brief, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of what we've been doing. We started with $25,000 that you gave us. We have withdrawals of $17,755.07. I told you, I don't mind spending, especially if it's not my money. We spent $2,600 in marketing. We spent $600 in Fourth Fridays. Main Street put some of that. This is only from your money. I did not include any part of the Main Street budget as well. Spent some money on a golf cart. We had a couple of special projects. Flowers were $3,000. New trash cans, and the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is up and working downtown, but we wanted to get through the last car show, the last cruise-in, to see, that was kind of our soft opening, to see if it would work. I haven't talked with John Green yet from New Lisbon, but probably in the spring we'll do some sort of fiber cutting or something to let people know that it's there. But I didn't want people to get on it and it crash, and then they'd be like, well, this is no good. But anyway, so that leaves us with a total of $7,200. $7,000. No, you have to accept terms of use, but that's all you have to do. There's no login. So it'll show up, and it won't work in the building. It'll only work on the street.
Okay, what's that circle? Is Broad Street from 15th?
From 11th to 15th.
11th to 15th on Broad Street.
It'll bleed over a little bit north and south, but not a whole lot. So,
Who'd you get Wi-Fi through?
New Lisbon?
Oh, no, you probably said that. Sorry.
I didn't. I mean, I said I need to talk to him. But, so we've been working with them. We fundraised on our own $6,300. Some of that went to fundraising costs because it costs to throw a party. And I just wanted to give you guys a synopsis of downtown. Somebody mentioned the clock. Feels like the clock is sort of the tipping point for us. I have, a lot of times I hear some negative things. I have not heard one thing but good about the clock. So it feels like we're on the upswing now, finally. But we currently have 40 businesses downtown. We have 4 new businesses this year: Legends Unique Boutique, 1414 Venue, and 1822 Boutique. We have 11 empty storefronts. Fourth Fridays this year, we're estimating brought about 2,000 people downtown. That was new. I don't know how many the cruise-ins bring or the concert series, but I think the concert series brought in record numbers. I have no idea. Brenda, you have any idea how many people the cruise-ins bring?
Probably anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000.
Yeah, every time. Yeah. So we have a lot of things going on downtown. We had almost 115,000 people reach through social media to date, which is a lot. We had 15,000 engagements, post-clicks, which is a lot. And I have 388 people engaged in email contacts, and we started a Merchants Alliance, which there's 83 members of, and that has really started to take off. They're planning events for next year, so that's exciting to me that they're getting together and doing some things. So that's just a quick synopsis of what we've been doing. I have plans for that $7,000 too. Don't take it away from me.
Appreciate all you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've obviously seen in the last few years the momentum in downtown build up again. I remember that momentum from when I was at the Art Center, not yet on the council, and it was, everybody was excited, and that kind of went away, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. See that build back up, I think, is a true testament. I mean, leadership, obviously, but majorly collaboration between the administration, the city, organizations like Main Street, EDC, the Chamber, all of the businesses, the Art Association. I mean, people want to be downtown now. I think that's fantastic. So I think the more we can do as a council and administration to keep providing the same support, I think we'll just build that momentum even more.
So, all right. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Aaron, would you stand up for just a second, please? These are the 2 lawnmower people that you'll be mowing the flowers.
So I just wanted to make it a public announcement.
And I want to publicly announce that we won't be using gasoline mowers.
Okay.
You remember the old ones?
Okay. All right. Go on a lease. Go on a lease. That was interesting. Okay, you can take the first week then.
First week, first 3 months.
Yeah, there you go.
January, February, March. Picture that.
Go ahead, Cory, sorry to interrupt.
Completely lost my train of thought. Good evening, council. My name is Corey Murphy. I'm with the Economic Development Corporation. No, I wanted to give you a brief update on activities. It had been a while since I had come and made an official report. Old news is the Shell building sold. Good news, Shell building sold.
What's Scotty Hayes gonna have to talk about?
Well, a new Shell building.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's the bad news. Well, no, that's good news because we got building. One of the things that I'm working on is we are doing our own site selection process in terms of where to build it in the county. And so we are looking at sites inside the city of Newcastle. We're looking at sites in the industrial park near the previous Shell building. We'll be looking at sites on the south side of I-70 in the town of Spiceland. And we're working with FPBH engineers to put together a list of potential sites and then measure that against a matrix in terms of a variety of items, utility infrastructure, land ownership, financing capabilities, so on and so forth. The goal is to have that report done by the end of November and present that to the County Redevelopment Commission and potentially the City Redevelopment Commission, depending on where the sites shake out. The county is doing the county RDC is doing a financial capacity analysis in terms of the ability to pay for another Shell building. I can tell you, I just came back from the International Economic Development Council's annual meeting. It happened to be held in Indianapolis, and the final session was probably a dozen site selectors on the stage, and the audience got to do Q&A. And so these are 1,500 people like myself from all across the country, and I couldn't have. This guy got up from North Central Illinois, and you probably would have thought that I paid him to ask this, but I did not. He said, for a rural community, what if we were to do a virtual building? In other words, have a site identified and then create building plans and show it digitally. And one of the site selectors said, do you buy a virtual car? You have a site, not a building. And that confirmed to me that one of the best things that we can continue in terms of having an asset or a product, in terms of business attraction, is have an actual site where somebody can do business. Couldn't have set that up better. So I wanted to give you that update. Along with the Chamber of Commerce and some other folks, workforce, talent, we're engaged in that discussion. We continue to be engaged in that discussion. Some of the themes from this conference was maybe communities should look at incentivizing talent the same way that they incentivize companies. And a couple case studies. One's local. One's very local. Grant for Grads. It's in Grant County, Indiana. I'd encourage you to Google that, or if you want information, I can send it to you. The other one is a program out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. There are many, many more. I'm not asking anything specific today. I'm just simply planting a seed. The communities.
For kids that graduate in that county to get some kind of assistance to stay in that county?
Yes. Yes. Grant County has been doing that for a number of years.
and got really good press in the last, say, 12 months. Other communities are doing it. Some states are doing it. And the theory is, and I don't think it's a theory, workforce is so important, talent is so important, that businesses go where they can find the talent. And so I'm beginning to think more about that seriously on some things that potentially we could do here locally, and I just simply wanted to plant that seed. Along with Main Street, we had an intern at the EDC this past summer, and his primary project was to inventory and database all of the downtowns in Henry County, including Newcastle. So we have a database of all the property, all the commercial property in downtown. What we're now thinking through is how do we get that information in a searchable format for our website, so people can, if they're looking to do business in downtown, how can we have that information on our website and be user friendly, not only just for Newcastle but the other downtowns across the county. So that will be a collaborative effort with Main Street. Questions?
Little off the subject of what you were just talking about, can you give us an update on the old e-coders?
Yeah, so Beacon Industries.
Yeah, and how they're doing and where they're at, if you've talked to them lately?
Well, I have not directly talked to them, but Kelly in our office was updating our number of employees information and contact information, and so they had that company staffed, and they're at 8 full-time employees as it stands a couple weeks ago. I think that and I'm doing this from memory, I think that their ramp-up was probably a 2 to 3 year period when they came to town. I know that we have touted, I have touted that project as a success story on our EPA grant, because we utilized the Phase 1 and Phase 2 to help identify the issues there, get the state regulatory agencies comfortable so the property acquisition could occur, and then the company could move in operations.
I think they estimated 30 jobs by 22 is what was their estimate.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have 2.5, 3 years to go.
Yes.
Another success story on that same line, you name it, on 25th Street,
KVK.
KVK. They came back and asked for help the second time. We were a little reluctant. They had 3 employees for 7 years, and they're up to 25 employees.
They're the gas can.
Gas station, yeah.
They're up to 20.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
I believe so.
Pretty close, but,
Good.
they said that extra little boost the second time is what got them that contract and got them open up. So, I'm excited about 25 jobs. They should struggle with 3 for a long time, but that's good.
Corey, is it maybe a good idea for a couple of us to go with you to visit some of these
Absolutely.
upstart companies?
Yep.
We've done that before.
Be happy to.
Especially on the abatements.
Yeah. Probably time for that.
Lynn does a
Friday's
good job of that.
Yeah, Lynn goes out and talks to some of those places.
Foam Rubber in their new location there in the former wall covering facility. I probably shouldn't do this because I'm doing it from memory, but what they said in the tax abatement proceedings and what they had, way outperforming in terms of the number of jobs. Yeah. Other questions? Appreciate your continued support.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Appreciate the update.
Anyone else?
Arm wrestle. Arm wrestle.
I'll give it to Sean. I just wanted to thank you again for your assistance in signing off on the interlocal agreement of Stellar. Also, there's some members here that have been actively involved since April. Jerry served on different capacities and been at many meetings. Patty Broyles has been. Rex and Corey have been very involved. Hours and hours and hours and hours and hours involved. And we appreciate everyone that from Newcastle that's been involved. There's been over 50 members in the county that's been, I would say, actively involved since mid-April when we found out we were one of the 4 finalists. We present up in Indianapolis a group of several. We haven't been told if we're limited. Last year was the first year that the 4 finalists actually presented up at the State House. Prior to that, Okra went to the individual counties or cities that were involved, and they had a limitation of how many. Last year they limited to 15 people, but we're told that that worked out pretty well last year. They may open that up to many more people, but Kathy Hamilton's trying to get clarification on that. But that is going to be on November the 14th. I think it's the same morning as the EDC meeting, if I'm not mistaken. You canceled because of that. So 10 a.m. up at the State House. We're going to be presenting our case. On September the 20th, we submitted a 180-page regional development plan that these 50 people that have been actively involved was actively involved in putting that together. We hired a consultant in Indianapolis, Thomas Miller, to assist us in that. So I think you've already discussed some of the projects, some of the Newcastle projects that are being forwarded. I know Basketball Hall of Fame is the county, but it sits in the city of Newcastle. There's commercial blight clearance of $250,000. The EMS Training Center, I know, is one of the biggies that Newcastle promoted. There's Henry County trails that'll branch out from Newcastle and the Wilbur Wright Trail into other areas of the county. Masonic Hall, someone mentioned, I think Aaron did. Windows?
Murphy Building.
Murphy Building. Masonic Hall is in Knightstown, and that's the one that, on what you signed tonight, is the federal housing credit, the rental housing credit of $941,000 per year for 10 years or $9 million, but that's all federal housing credits. The Murphy Building is one of them, and there's Steve Weider was involved in that, and I think there's an artist studio, both audio and 3D art, 2D art, an audio studio, et cetera, being planned for the upstairs of the Murphy Building. Newcastle sidewalks, over $1 million, should we be the designee. Owner-occupied home repairs, $500,000. Infrastructure improvements for the towns of Greensboro and Moreland. We did some research, and they have the highest distress scores according to CDBG, a federal program in the county. Skate park enhancements, sidewalk improvements in a couple of other Henry County towns. Westwood School Pass, we know we've had a couple of deaths in early morning hours. No sidewalks out in the Blackberry Woods and Westwood area into Westwood School. YMCA after-school expansion. Then there's some complementary projects in case some of the others that I didn't read don't get funded by Okra, by Stellar. Some things for Knightstown and the Early Learning Center that Nan Polk's group and John Schwartz from Knightstown, they're both on the school boards. If some of the other 23 projects get mixed from Okra and Stellar, we'll pull in some of those complementary programs in order to do that. So the video is being produced by Praxis Media in Indianapolis. Mike Jansen is the voice of the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium. So if you hear somebody saying Colts third down, that's Mike Jansen who's producing our video. He communicated with me tonight. He'll have that done tomorrow. So hopefully, after we show it on the 14th in Indianapolis, we can show it at the next EDC meeting, we can show it at the next council meeting or your second council meeting in November, and the same at the county level. It's pretty impressive. It's 7 minutes, and it really, several of you are in it. Mark Boatwright's in it.
Mike Bergen's in it. The mayor's in it. Who else is in it? Anyway, several of you in this room are in it, and you do a really nice job as far as the interview. A lot of the interviews and a lot of the, we probably took 2 hours of video and drones down to 7 minutes. So welcome to Hollywood. A lot of it's on the editing room floor, but several of you actually made the cut, so we appreciate that. So if Kathy gets verification that we're not limited to the number of people up at the State House on November the 14th at 10 a.m., we hope that you can come and support us. The next thing we have, after making sure all the county towns that are involved with at least a match with the project this week to sign off from their councils, is to start preparing for our presentation. That's an hour long, and then we're bombarded by an hour of Q&A, rapid fire Q&A from the higher ups in Okra and Stellar. So you can come with your pom-poms and support whoever the speakers are going to be. I imagine Corey will be one of them. He's a good public speaker, but I don't know. That hasn't been determined yet. So, but thank you for your support. Thank you, individuals who were actively involved. 50 people put in well over 1,000 collective hours. This is one of my 2 binders. It's nothing but Stellar. And this is, I think, the smaller of the 2 binders I have. So a lot of people put a lot of heart and soul into this. So thank you to all you who did, and thank you for signing and approving that interlocal agreement tonight.
Appreciate your
I
leadership.
think Ken thought he was going to be retired.
Yeah, I think he's working.
I'd hate to imagine how much time he's put into this, and he's been a huge drive force behind this.
Didn't work his hard at school.
Plead the fifth.
I'll just say I don't feel much retired, but it's well worth it, especially if we get the designation.
Appreciate the work on this, Ken. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.
Waited.
Wait for the hook.
Sean Defoe with the Chamber of Commerce. Just a couple of events, happening things, and an update on a couple of things for you guys. One is on this Wednesday, we are having a fairly interesting crash course on human resources, HR laws, the laws in Indiana about that. If you are interested in it or you know someone who may be interested in it, we're still accepting people to come on in. So if you want more information on that, you can talk to me or go to our website. That's on the 23rd of October from 9 a.m. to 12 over there in the Murphy Building. Next, on October 29th, we're having our candidate forum. We're looking forward to having all candidates from Henry County there. So far we have, I think, at least 7 individuals have committed to being there with us. And whether you are running unopposed or opposed, we are encouraging you all to be there who are running for election this year. And that will be at the library at 6:30. And we have Darrell being the moderator there for that. He's going to be blazing you guys with tough, hard-nosed questions, as any good reporter would do. But last but not least, I wanted to thank the Board of Works and the Police Department on helping get the permit approved. We will be shutting down Broad Street on December 5th for the Christmas walk from 5:30 to 8. So we're very excited about that and the great opportunities it will bring for people to be able to walk down there and really enjoy the downtown. And now we just have to pray for snowflakes to fall as we enjoy the Christmas walk. Hopefully, well, no? Okay. And then maybe as well. And then, of course, and hopefully we'll also have good news that day as to where we're at with the Stellar, and it will be a grand celebration all around. Thank you.
Any other citizens wishing to come forward?
I just wanted to come up and thank you, Mr. Walker, for what you're doing in front of our shop.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I want to thank you for that. It helped. And I want to give the Chrysler coach a recommendation. He is good. They have done a good job. When we got a flag My daughter did, and it's been flying overseas for the past 2 months. I can't tell you where, it's just overseas. And it's been on Facebook. But he's flying that Trojan flag. He honors that flag. So I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Your Honor, I move we adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.